Hey guys, welcome to this tutorials. In this tutorials, we are going to see how does the cross compiler works, and we have two ways of doing that. So let's get started with that. So basically, what tools we are going to use, as you can see, we are going to use the C programming language. That is, we are going to write a code in C and we are going to cross compile it. But you can have any kind of a code which is suitable for your particular needs, and you can even cross compile that. And the C code we will be writing in the Eclipse IDE, that's the Eclipse software. And hardware that we are going to use for this cross compiler is the BeagleBone Black and the host machine. The host machine basically has the operating system of Linux, that is of the Ubuntu 18.04, the long-term service distribution. And that's the requirements for this particular video. If you have all these things ready with you, you are well to go and get started. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to write a short or a simple C program such as the hello world program and compile the code and display the output of the code using the simple cross-chain tools available. But the only condition that what we have over here is that we are going to use the Linaro files. So let's get started and first understand the two things that we are going to highlight over here. The first one is the cross-chain tools, and the second one is the Linaro files that we have been talking about. So the cross compilation tools are basically available in your Eclipse software as well. So whenever you're trying to create a new project, there is a cross GCC that's already been available, so you can use that, and then you can just set the path for the cross toolchain, like which are the cross-chain compiler, which one do you want to use, and then you can get started. So let's come to that discussion a bit later into this video, and right now just focus on understanding what's a cross compiler. A cross compiler is nothing but a tool. It's a tool that is used, that could be defined as building a code for any other particular system on another particular system. So basically, to give you an example, as we know that the hardware of the BeagleBone Black is of the ARM family and your host machine is of the x86 architecture. So these are two different architectures. So now you're going to try to compile the code for the ARM architecture on your machine. Okay, so the file that executable that we get from the cross tool chain would be executable only on the ARM architecture and no other architectures. So basically Linaro, that's there. So the first step of doing it is we have to go to the Linaro website and check for the Linaro releases, and you can I will just go for you, like this is the website that you need to go to. And over here you have a list of downloadable files that you will be receiving, and you need to download the tar file, tar.xz file for the GNU abhif file. And once you have downloaded, we'll see how we are going to use this. Okay, so coming back, once you download this file, and you will be seeing that these will be the contents of the file that we have. And what's a Linaro is basically, like, a question may arise in your minds that what is Linaro, if I'm talking why Linaro specifically and not any other thing. Linaro is basically it's like an organization structure that basically works on open source development tools such as your GCC compilers or your Linux kernels. So basically the Linaro is basically they have like a set of investors and developers who are working on these free software tools that have been there, and they are trying to get these tools more organized, more getting to the needs of the ARM basically. So the Linaro basically focuses on the ARM and on the open source tools. So basically the work is near the silicon. So wherever your chip is there, you know that there is a silicon or chip. The chip, near the chip, they basically work on those kind of tools. So basically Linaro provides you with an ARM compiler as well. So basically it's like an alternative to your conventional GCC or G++ compilers that have been present on your Linux systems. So basically how you can cross compile, there are basically two methods by which you can cross compile. One is using the Eclipse software itself, and the second one is using without the Eclipse, that's using just your terminal and the Linaro files that have been there. So to get started, first you need to open your terminal, and you need to get to this, and you need to install this file. This file will automatically get downloaded from the Linaro website. So I will just try and paste it over here, and once pasted I will run this. So it will ask for my computer password, and what you will see that is that now since I had already installed it previously, it's showing to me that 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, and 0 to remove, and 0 to be upgraded, because it has already been installed on my system. But this is basically the command that will install it up. Once you have installed this app, you can cross verify this app using the -v, that's getting to the version of the of this kernel. So let's check it up. Since we have installed it or not properly, we'll check up the version, and we'll see that you see like this is the entire path, like configured with what path and where the files have been located. Okay, and you see that the GCC version is 7.5.0 with Ubuntu Linaro 7.5.003 Ubuntu on 1804. So that's been installed for you. And after this installation, you can start up with writing your C code. So basically I have already written the C code. If you see, if I do like sudo more test.c, you can see like this is the C command that we are going to run. And you can write this using any nano editor or any like Vim editor, VI editors, and you can write the code, but just make sure that your file name has the appropriate extensions to them. So in this code, what we are going to do is we are going to basically print a statement, and then we are going to compute sum of two numbers, and then we are going to exit from this program. So that is what has been done. Once we have done this, we are going to compile this up. So since this code was already been written and compiled, I'm going to delete the executable that was created. So now I will run this command as arm. As you can see on the screen, it's arm abihf -gcc test.c -o and the output file name. Now this file name could be anything of your choice. I usually prefer to have the same name as the program file name, so it could be your choice. If you want to change this to some other name, you can free to do so. So once it is executed, you can type the ls command. Now when I type the ls command, I see that this is again an executable file of test in the green color. But now here is the problem, which will tell you that it is not an executable file. So there are two ways to know that this file is not meant for the system. Is when I run this executable file, it will show cannot execute the binary file, there is a format error. So this is one way, but to get more assured about this, you just have to type the command as file test, and when I run this command, I see that it has the ARM EBS version of this. Now how this is basically tells you that whether the executable file that has been there is actually for a ARM, or it's for an Intel based system, or it's for what. Like if I try to run another, I have like file, if you can see like this one, the Balena, this is an executable file just for my Intel based system. So if I run this up, you can see that this Alena is been there for a 64-bit LSB executable file, okay, and it's meant for an 86 architecture with 64-bit. So basically this will tell you that this is meant just for my Intel based systems. So this basically assures you, once you have assured this up, you can now go and transfer this to the BeagleBone. So your executable is now ready, and you can send this file to the BeagleBone. So just connect your BeagleBone to your host machine app, and then using the SFTP protocol, you're going to transfer this up. So how do we do is we type the SFTP and the user name for your BeagleBone, and the host ID, that's the host IP address 192.168.7.2, which is the default IP address for any BeagleBone Black system. So once it gives you a warning, ignore it and say yes, and it will ask you to log in into the Debian. Now by default I have not changed the password, so I will use the default password of temp, and now I'm connected to my BeagleBone. So what I need to do is I need to send the executable file from my desktop to the BeagleBone. I do that using the put command, put and the test, and press enter. You see that uploading to the test home Debian test, and test has been uploaded successfully of 100%. In order to exit this SFTP protocol, I just tap buy and it will exit it. The next thing is I need to log in into the BeagleBone and see if I have properly executed the SFTP protocol, and the test file is already been there. So I just type sudo ssh debian @192.168.7.2 and type the password. So I'm logged in into my Debian, and when I type the ls command, you can see that there is already a test that is there. So my just shortcut is just run this executable file of test, and this is how you run it up. And when you see it says welcome to the world of cross compilation, sum of 4 and 18 is 22. To show you to just verify if the program has been run successfully, I will just open it with an editor, and as you can see, we had expected it to print a statement called as the welcome to the world of cross compilation, and then we asked it to get the sum of 4 and 18 is 22. So that's what has been printed over here. So the program has been executed successfully as per our requirements. So this is one way of doing a cross compilation with Linaro. The second way of doing it up is using the Eclipse software. So it has already been opened, so I will start once again from the beginning. So what I would like to do is I will just show you the illustration of some steps on how to create the project first and choose the GCC compilers. So basically you have to go to file, click on new, then go to C and C++ project, choose which project are you trying to build. Are you going to build a C project or a C++ or any Java project, or whatever project you want to make, just choose it and press next. Give a project name over here, like whatever, like demo is my project name. Instead of now choosing your Linux GCC, you're going to choose cross GCC. Now to set the path for the Linaro, you have two alternatives. One alternative is you just keep on pressing next, and when you're asked for prefix and user path, give it. Usually the prefix be is of the type ARM, Linux, GNU, ABIHF dash, and the path you can choose where you have kept your Linaro files. Just for the demonstration purposes, my Linaro files were kept on the desktop, so I will just go and choose up to the user, and just press open. So this is one way of doing it. Another way, I will just show you how to do it. So since I've already created a project, I will just press cancel, and the alternative way is just right click on the project, go to properties, and under the properties go to C and C++ build, under settings, then at the cross settings set the prefix as I told you, and set the path, and this remains as it is. Now why this remains as GCC and this cross tool as this is because if you have noticed in the previous way in which we ran the code, we had used the command of ARM Linux GCC. You see this is your prefix path that we set up till this point, and then there is a GCC. So which compiler? A GCC compiler made only for ARM Linux. So that's the reason we are using the prefix in this case. So once done with the settings, you can just say apply and close. And once done up with this, you can just go and say build this project. So when I just try to save it up, okay, so there is a small L over there. So I will build it up. So for your purpose, I will just disconnect my BeagleBone Black so that I do not have anything right up. So like I will say it's just like exit from here, it will just show me an error, logged out. Okay, so I've been logged out from the terminal as well, and my connection has also been stopped with BeagleBone. So like over here, now what we are doing here is we are taking two variables and finding the difference of the variables, along with which we are going to print the line of welcome to the world of cross compilation. Now what you will see is this put command is being used, but this by default goes to the next line, but this is a double next line for me, so I have just used it. If you do not want, you can remove this up. Okay, and what I do is I will build this up. So let me go onto the console and just build this and just save it up. And you see like I have if I just what I will do is I will just change this up. I will now save it and build this up. And now you see that I have got 0 errors and 0 warnings. And to verify whether this is binary file meant only for the ARM architecture, you can see that you can see test, and you can see this in the brackets, it's ARM under the /LE. So this basically tells you that this is meant only for the ARM architecture. This executable file is only for the ARM. And once I do this, now that's completing, and I got my executable file. I have cross compiled it, and now I need to transfer it to the BeagleBone. So what I do is I need to go to the remote system tabs. If you do not have, you can go into the Windows and go to the show view, and you can go to the others, and you should be able to see that the remote systems is there under the remote systems. If it is not there, you might have to install it using the help option, and you need to go to install new software, and then just type remote systems into the and you should be able to install that up. So once you have this remote systems, you just click on new connection. Okay, and now since already I have a BeagleBone connection, this is just, if you have not already have a connection, you can just create a connection. So basically what type of system is yours is a Linux type. Like for BeagleBone runs with a Debian, and it's a Linux based system, so we are going to take the Linux as the system. And then you need to give the host ID, the host name. So basically as you log in into your BeagleBones, usually using the terminal, so the host name basically is nothing but your IP address, and connection name is any name that you want to give. So in my case, I had given was BeagleBone Black, so that's what you can give here, and you can just press next. So like I will just press demo, and the next option pops up, so I can go next. Now over here I need to select only those files that pertain with SSH. So whatever is with the SSH command, SSH dot or anything, I will have to select only those. So that's how the SSH comes into picture. And once you're selecting all, you have to create, so you have to press finish. And once you finish it up, you would see your connection over here. Okay, so once your connection is present in the remote system pane, the next step would be you need to go and connect it. So just right click onto the connection and press connect. When you press connect, it will ask you for a user ID and password. So in the password section, just type in the password of the BeagleBone. That is usually temp_pwd, but in case you have changed it, you can change it. You can just put that password for the Debian login, or if you have any other user, you can just put in the username over here, and then just press OK. So what you see is this is an information box, and just press OK. So what happens is that now if you just right click and see, the connect option is gone and there is a disconnect option. And when I just open up this, you can see all my SFTP files. In the home there is a test, so this is the file that we have. So basically I will delete this file so that I can execute it once again and show you how to transfer it up. So So basically what happens, this is all the contents of the file. These are the processes, SSH shells. So the next thing what we are going to do is that we are going to transfer the files. So to transfer the files, we go back to the project explorer. Now we see that the binary file is here, but usually what I think is that this is a best practice to take this file up. Instead of taking this binary directly, I would say take this one and the debug folder, right click up, say copy, go into the remote systems, and over here if you want you can create a folder. Like suppose I can just create a new folder over here, or using the terminal also we can do that. Okay, so I will do it using the terminal and I will paste that file over there. So to do that, I go to the terminal and I say is set up open a terminal, and open the terminal of the host ID and the user's Debian, and again given the password as tmppwd. And you see that again it's the same warning. Just press OK and you see that I have logged in into the terminal of the BeagleBone. So the next step is, as I told you, we will be creating a directory. So we create the directory using the mkdir command, and you can just say cross underscore compiler, enter. And now if you just I will just refresh this up. So since this is not an SFTP file, you won't be seeing this root over here. Okay, you won't be seeing this over here. Okay, it's so in the root you might be able to see that up. So let's check if we have it under the root. That's the user. Okay, so that's the root. I guess we cannot see that up. Okay, this is home, this is Debian. Okay, here you see we have the cross compiler. So I will just go in that and I will just have to paste a file. So just paste this file. Okay, so now when I type ls over here, I can see there is a cross compiler folder that is there. So I will say cd cross compiler and enter, and then when I type ls, now you see this test.eclipse is not in green. That means it's not executable. No, it is executable, but we just need to do some changes. So what we do is chmod ugo plus x and then type the file name to make it an executable file. And now when you type, you see that it's a green color. So that's an executable file. So again, as we usually do it, we just execute this file, and what we see is that welcome to the world of cross compilation. Subtracting 30 and 8, we get 22. That's the right answer. Okay, so this could be verified from the program as well on the above screen, that we had asked it to print and then get the results up. So this basically tells you that how the cross compilation tools work, and this is how I have used the hardware of BeagleBone. If you have any other thing, you can just do it like that way. Like suppose if you had a Raspberry with you, or so you could have just set a new connection. Since Raspberry also runs Debian, you could say a Linux based system. Now the host name for Raspberry, if I'm not wrong, it's by default you log in into the Raspberry or something like that, so you just have to change the host name as per that is requirement. So that's how the cross compilation tools work, and we have seen how that Linaro has been done, and we have used the Linaro files as well. So that's it, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this video, and do not forget to like and subscribe my channel. See you until next time. Bye bye and take care. Thank you.